Welcome to our Sunday question and answer program. Please go ahead with your call.
Hi, Chris. In Revelation 10:11, and he said to me, "Thou must prophesy again about many peoples and nations and tongues and kings." Now, is this the stage that the elect are in now, where they are to feed the sheep from after May 21, 2011 until 2033? And I'll take your response, Chris.
Well, yes, you're referring to Revelation 10:11, but let's read the previous verse. Verse 9 speaks of this little book that's open, and that's the Bible. The seals are off, and it says at the end of verse 9, "And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey." That's how we know it's the Bible. But notice, in the belly it's bitter, and the belly is the place from which rivers of living water should flow forth. But it's now bitter because it's the day of judgment. And bitter water identifies with a gospel that has no power to save. And so in verse 10, I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. 4 groups: peoples, nations, tongues, and kings. Number 4, pointing to universality. It's to be a worldwide proclamation. When God saved the great multitude and they're out there scattered amongst the nations, how are you going to pinpoint the elect? Nobody can understand who's elect, who's not elect. The only way to feed sheep who are scattered amongst the nations of the world is to send forth a worldwide message to everyone, because we don't know who they are, and let God apply it to his elect. We're really going to do the same thing as was done in the day of salvation. Send forth the word, God will apply it and save his elect. Well, now we send forth the word to all the world, God will apply it and feed his elect. It's the only way it can be done. And so, yes, here in Isaiah 34, verse 1, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Jehovah is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter." So God is speaking to the nations and all people, and let the earth hear. What are they to hear? His indignation is upon them all. It's the day of the wrath of God. And when we feed the sheep, that is to be the message. Will we be more definite with a date? I don't know. That depends on what kind of information the Bible opens up. But I do know that now it's a different situation, because it was essential for the world to know the very day Judgment Day would begin, and the day God would shut the door and stop saving people, so that everyone could know this is it. Because it was a certain sound announcing the battle of Judgment Day approaching, that there were those who were able to prepare themselves. As it says in Amos, "Prepare to meet thy God, O Israel." And of course, God worked out all that in the lives of his chosen people by drawing them through that news and saving those that were chosen and so forth. Now, that's not the same situation for, let's say, a particular date. We're really looking for the time when all of the body of Christ rises from the dead. As we study the Bible, God confirms and it strengthens. And we get to the point where we say, well, you know what? The biblical information is just really pointing to this day to such a degree, maybe we say it with more certainty. On one hand, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether we say it as a strong likelihood or whether we say it with an exclamation point. It is not warning anyone. We're not trying to warn anyone about the end of the world. May 21, that's over and done with. It would accomplish nothing as far as people's preparation, individuals who would take warning. Those verses that encouraged us in the days pre-May 21, the watchman, when he sees the sword coming, he has to blow the trumpet to warn the people. Well, that doesn't qualify. It's not in view with this particular time period because no one any longer can take warning in order to be translated out of darkness into light. The filthy, whether warned or not warned, they cannot become righteous. And the righteous, whether warned or not warned, will remain righteous still. So it's a completely different period of time as far as warning anyone. We, of course, as Bible students, we just want to study the Bible, learn truth, share truth. And, if we learn a truth, such a point that we would say, the Bible absolutely teaches this. Okay, that's fine. But again, there's no necessity for us to know the very day all of the body of Christ rises from the dead.